Hey everyone, it's Mike, and during this video today I'm going to share with you 3 nootropics that you can use to overcome stage fright. I've personally used these nootropics myself. You may be wondering what makes me qualified to make this video. Here's a clip of me training hundreds of salespeople. Here's another clip of me training entrepreneurs, and these are nootropics that I personally use myself. I've used over 50 nootropics throughout the past 10 years, and there are nootropics which can help you with memory, anxiety, focus. However, these select few are really going to help you to overcome that anxiety which comes along with stage fright. And be sure to stay tuned to the end of the video where I'm going to share with you the dosages for each one of them, as well as nootropics that you should consider avoiding for stage fright. Firstly, what is stage fright? Well, here's how Wikipedia defines it: is the anxiety, fear, or persistent phobia which may be aroused in an individual by the requirement to perform in front of an audience. So what this really tells us is that for most people, the general concern is anxiety. So let's take a look at this neat graph here which shows the effect of nootropics on anxiety. And some of the most effective nootropics include Phenibut, L-theanine, even ashwagandha. However though, when we're talking about stage fright, this encompasses a lot more than anxiety in my opinion. We're also looking to address like verbal fluency, our general motivation, and our ability to connect with people, not just one-on-one, but one-to-many. And these nootropics have been so strong for me that I would not consider going on stage without them. The very first nootropic would be Aniracetam. The way in which I'm taking this is 500 milligrams 3 times per day. It's a little bit tricky to dose as it's not something you would just take once and expect it to work for the rest of the day. You need to be taking it consistently every single day in order for it to build up in your system and you to begin to feel the effects. And what it's really good for is specifically social anxiety. Like I mentioned, verbal fluency, general motivation, even your memory. It falls under the racetam family. It's a lot more potent than piracetam. It's a fat-soluble nootropic, and it's something you can take and have general peace of mind that there aren't really any bad side effects. Some people do experience a little bit of brain fog, maybe a little bit of irritability. However, if that's the case, they're probably not dosing it correctly. I'll share with you this really neat read I found on Reddit where somebody reported the first time ever taking something that truly improved their cognitive capacity. Their mind's never been so clear. This was their first day taking it. They took 750 milligrams 3 times, and they're usually somebody that battles with severe stress, anxiety, and depression, and for the first time I feel optimistic. They could now actually bear themselves to complete their studying and work. And then they further go on to say that they know for some people they don't notice Aniracetam working for about a month, and this is definitely true, but for this individual specifically, it did work for them instantly. If you're somebody that works behind a desk and you don't need something which is really going to enhance your social skills, this nootropic probably wouldn't be that beneficial. You'd probably be better off by taking something like oxiracetam or maybe piracetam. This here you would consider a pretty big tub of Aniracetam. This will probably last you a few months, and here's what the powder looks like. It's white. It kind of looks like a typical amino acid, and the way in which I'm taking it is 2 to 3 times a day along with a choline source, which is usually recommended. This is a form of choline. It's called alpha GPC. This is my favorite. I've made a video on it which I will link here, and choline is a super inexpensive supplement to take. As a matter of fact, I think that most people should be taking some choline either way unless they're getting enough choline through taking egg yolks, which they're usually not. Come to think of choline like something like the more you work, the more choline you need, as you need to replenish your acetylcholine levels in your body, as it's basically like fuel, almost like batteries you have, which you want to keep always fueled. When should you be taking it? Morning, again in the afternoon, and perhaps early evening if you are a harder working person that maybe has like 10 or 12 hour work days. And believe me, this is where a lot of people go wrong. If they're not noticing Aniracetam working, you're probably not taking it frequently enough. It must be taken 2 to 3 times per day for most people. There are some unusual exceptions where people notice it instantly, and I consider myself somebody who is pretty sensitive to nootropics, but I can't personally feel it unless I'm taking it every single day for about 2 weeks. Should you take time off of Aniracetam? In my opinion, yes. This is a synthetic nootropic. It's not naturally extracted from a herb or from a root, so be mindful of that. The way in which I would dose it is something like taking 2 months on followed by 3 weeks off, and then I would get back onto Aniracetam again. However, I've been taking this for a number of years now and I've not really noticed anything bad from it. This is a really good nootropic, especially for stage fright. Alright, now this is the second nootropic that I'd recommend for stage fright. It's lion's mane mushroom. This is the 8-to-1 mushroom extract. I like this a lot, and if we browse on examine.com, We can see there's research showing it has benefits with a decreased anxiety, it helps with cognitive decline, even symptoms of depression. And that's really been true for me with lion's mane. This is one of my top 5 nootropics without question. This will help you to really eliminate those voices in your head, more allow you to see the brighter side of things and come from that state of, failure is feedback. Let's get through this because it's going to help me long term. So think of lion's mane like you're willing to get out of your comfort zone because you're more open to experiences. I feel generally way more curious about everything when I'm taking lion's mane. I want to learn more about people, more about particular subjects, even when those subjects didn't typically interest me to begin with. Suddenly it's like you have a greater awareness of some of your fears, which would include stage fright, and you have a better relationship with them, because fear is the last thing you want when you're on stage, as it's going to cause you to have a tremendous amount of anxiety. Here's a neat quote from Jim Morrison: "Expose yourself to your deepest fear, and after that you're free." That's what it feels like. There's a lot of great experiences you'll read on Reddit about people after taking lion's mane, specifically around mood or mild symptoms of depression, whether it's less interest in things, whether it's no desire to get out of bed, or generally wanting to interact with people. Lion's mane's been effective for me in not only that context, but as well with work. It's been my experience with lion's mane that when I finish the day, I'm less likely to be worn out or tired, more so just optimistic, feeling good about the following day, and positively reflecting on some of the things that took place in the day. What were some of my wins, or what were some of the things that I could have done better? And that thus allows me to move forward the next day. And having that feedback without being pessimistic about it is going to help you long term. And it's so popular that we're starting to see in a lot of coffee blends out there. This is a really popular one. It's called 4-Sigmatic Lion's Mane, and it contains 500 milligrams of lion's mane per serving. Super easy to use. You simply open one of the packages and you mix it with a cup of boiling water. And I made a video reviewing this product here, the 4-Sigmatic Mushroom Elixir Mix, which I will link right here. No, they are not sponsoring me, nor is any other company. This is one particular nootropic where I found the brand really does matter. If people do experience bad side effects, it's usually because they've bought it from a vendor which isn't necessarily known for lion's mane. The way in which most people are dosing it is 2 to 3 times per day. Some people do report feeling good experiences once per day. However, what I found is that because lion's mane seems to have this acute feeling of being in a better mood that lasts 3 to 4 hours, it's more beneficial to take it at least twice per day. Although it is a naturally occurring nootropic, it is very strong, so I'd recommend something like taking it 1 month on followed by 1 week off. And usually for most people, they notice it working after about a couple weeks. Alright, and nootropic number 3 is phenylpiracetam, and the way in which I would describe phenylpiracetam really is game changer. It is the strongest nootropic specifically for stage fright. The way in which you would describe phenylpiracetam is like the best supplement you would take for networking, for being an extrovert, even if you have introverted-like personality traits like myself. When you're taking phenylpiracetam, the way in which you'd feel is more motivation, you'd feel more energetic, you definitely will come across more charismatic. So in the context of stage fright and being on stage, you have that magnetic-like personality that everybody wants to be around you because of your energy, like your good vibes, you're bringing everybody up. With this nootropic though, unlike the other 2 nootropics I mentioned earlier, Aniracetam and lion's mane, it is very strong stuff, and generally with nootropics, the stronger the effects are, the stronger the side effects are. So for that reason, I don't recommend you take phenylpiracetam every single day, more like 2 to 3 times per week, or perhaps you can save it for that special circumstance when you are making a presentation. I've been using phenylpiracetam for about 6 years, and I made a more comprehensive video on how to take phenylpiracetam, which I will link over here. Because what's so is, believe me, there's pros, but there are as well cons. Like with this nootropic, it is so physically energizing that if you take it, don't be surprised if in the later portion of the day, like you just want to go for a run because you're so switched on. Come to think of it almost like an extended release form of caffeine. You get this mood uplift and this slight euphoric feeling, which makes it such that you're wanting and willing to get out of your comfort zone. And when it comes to stage fright or performance anxiety, it seems to shut it down. And it's not really like it will decrease your anxiety, because if you look at this graph over here, it actually shows that it can trigger a little bit more anxiety. In terms of the strength, I would compare it to modafinil. I personally find it a little bit stronger than modafinil. The way in which you can get it is either in capsule form. It's very potent stuff, so it's typically only 100 milligram capsules, or in the powder form. And me, I prefer the powder form because that way I can just accurately dose it. I like using a milligram scale. And for me, I'm taking like 70 to 90 milligrams in the powder form right under my tongue. Otherwise, as far as nootropics to avoid, I'd really be mindful of caffeine and L-theanine. With caffeine, sure, it can boost your energy and boost your mood, but you need to time it right, because with caffeine, and even when you're taking caffeine and L-theanine, you feel good for about 2 to 3 hours, but it's generally followed by a little bit of a crash where you have a bit of brain fog, you don't want to talk to people, so it can be a little bit tricky, but it does have its use. And something else I would avoid is probably L-tyrosine, as with L-tyrosine, it works for focus and concentration, but similarly to caffeine and L-theanine, you can feel a little bit of irritability during the time when it's getting out of your system. Hope you all did find this helpful. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and the way I'm going to finish this video is with an insertion of the video I've made on Phenibut. You'll find that quite helpful. Do follow me on social media. I appreciate your feedback on this video. Comment below, and I will look forward to seeing you all next time. And honestly, Phenibut is one nootropic that I've always stayed away from because I've always read more bad than I have good about it. And as an example of this, as you can see here, I read a lot on Quora, and I can see here that one person reports in their experience the Phenibut withdrawals are the worst feeling ever. Now, these are the capsules.